Okay, go ahead and get out your math journal. And today we are looking at page 26. This was page 25 where we talked about fact families. Well, 26, we're going to talk about using fact families another way. We showed our fact family with our triangle cards, but we can also show fact families with our bar model. So here we're going to say I can use a bar model to show fact families. Notice that when families is plural more than one, we change that Y to an I and we add ES. So I can use a bar model to show fact families. So what you're going to do is we're going to be doing some cutting. So you're going to get out page 187. All right, we don't need that and we don't need this side anymore. And we're not going to be cutting this side, we're going to be cutting this side, okay? So what we're going to do is get out our scissors. And we're going to cut this part off right here, like that. So right above the fish. Okay. And then we want this part that says the model and draw. It says you can use addition facts to remember differences. Related facts have the same whole and parts. Now we need to trim this up so it's going to fit in our book. So we don't want anything hanging out or else it just gets ripped off. So without cutting off any of the bar model, there's kind of this light pink box. So I'm just going to cut up gently there. Okay. And then I can just kind of take my scissors around here. And then I'm not going to cut off any of the bar model, but I'm going to go right up against it. And I'm just going to kind of curve my edges because those seem to glue in better if I have curved edges. I'm going to do a quick check to make sure this fits without anything hanging out. And it does. So I'm going to grab my glue. Okay. So just to review, we cut off the top of 188. So that's the page we cut the top of with these 4 fish. You don't need this page anymore. You can put this in the recycle bin. Now, before we glue in, okay, let's wait a second because we're going to do some marking with our crayon. The important thing to remember with the bar model is that the longest piece, so here's our longest piece right here. In addition, so here's an addition fact, this always has to be the sum, okay? So in addition, we're going to have our addend. So we're going to label this addend, addend, sum. All right, so notice the longest piece is going to be the sum. Now in subtraction, the longest piece in subtraction is the what? That minuend. So be really careful with that. So this here is the minuend in subtraction. So here's the minuend. Remember what comes next? The 7 in this case is the subtrahend. So label that. Okay. Subtrahend. And then the part that we were finding the answer to is the difference. Remember, whenever we see the word difference, we're always talking about subtraction. So whenever we see difference, we're talking about subtraction. Now, notice that we have the exact same bar model for both an addition and subtraction fact, just like we could write addition and subtraction facts with the exact same triangle card. And of course, if we wanted to write the turnaround fact for this, we could. So we'd have 7 plus 6 is 13, and 13 minus 6 is 7. And then we'd have all 4 facts. But we don't need to do that in this time. Okay, so make sure you're all labeled here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back. Remember, no oozing glue, just little dots of glue. Stick that right in. Make sure it's not hanging off. And then we want to write down here the longest piece. Okay, the longest piece is always the sum in addition. Okay, so here's our longest piece. If we have an addition fact, it's always the sum. So the longest piece is always the sum in addition and the minuend in subtraction. So go ahead and finish that up. Just going to underline the longest piece. So we remember the longest piece is always the sum in addition and the minuend in subtraction. And you can see how this kind of looks like an upside down triangle card. If you look at it, think of it that way. And bar models can be all different shapes and sizes. And you'll see how a lot of different bar models all mean the same thing as we continue on in this unit. Okay. Also, in addition, another thing this can be called is part whole, because it's like here's a piece, we join them together and here is the whole thing. And in subtraction, we're finding one of these pieces up here. So that's another thing to remember. Okay. Finish that up. We'll see you soon. Thanks for working hard.